Hello everyone, I am 22 Tiger Dude. Welcome to Animation Domination 17. Wait. Yeah, 17. Okay, now, for some reason they changed the scheduling, so I'm reviewing it in the order of how they changed the schedule. The only ones that kept their time slot were The Simpsons and Family Guy, but the rest of the shows they had different airing times. But we're gonna go ahead and start off with American Dad. Alright. This is parodying James Bond, and come on. We all have to know who James Bond is. I mean, come on. James Bond is, well, James Bond, and it's awesome. And then it's a sequel to the original Tearjerker episode, because this will be like a tearjerker saga. And so the plot is that the black magician, who is Principal Lewis, he shoots Sex Pun, the sexy Francine. I'm sorry I had to say sexy, but god damn, Francine is so hot. And then, of course, Stan is James Bond, and he teams up with Roger to go stop the black magician. And then, well, I don't want to spoil any more things, so I'm going to go ahead and just stop from there. Alright, so I enjoyed the original episode parodying James Bond, Tearjerker. I think that's the episode's name. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. And I was looking forward to this because I enjoyed the original episode. And this is a great episode, but I don't think it's as good as the original, though. The episode does have its problems, but overall, it was a great episode. It's a very fun episode of American Dad. Of course, the way they just parodied James Bond, it was so cool. And the way they did dun dun, dun dun, dun dun. There were plenty of funny moments in this episode as well. I thought Principal Lewis as the black magician was just very well done. It's got the humor. The episode, overall, it does get a little boring at times. And some of the humor, it just fell flat. It wasn't that good. Plus, it was kind of weird in a couple of moments. That's really the only problems I had with this American Dad episode, but it is a great episode overall, and I would definitely recommend it, especially if you are a fan of American Dad. And so, of course, the animation's good. It has good action. Black Magician was good. Just how they parody James Bond overall, it's a fun episode. No doubt about it. And so, in the end, I give this American Dad episode for black eyes only an 8.5 out of 10. I would definitely recommend you guys giving it a watch because it was a great episode overall. Dun 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 dun. Okay, guys, it is now The Simpsons at its regular airing time for Animation Domination. And so this episode is about when Homer visits Ned Flanders' parents. Ned Flanders gets very jealous because the parents enjoyed Homer's company much more than they enjoyed Ned's company. So then Ned jealously and angrily actually punches Homer in the eye and gave him a black eye. But after he did that, he started to feel guilty. And that's really it. And he's trying to do something to make up for punching Homer in the eye because he just feels bad overall. And then the subplot is the substitute teacher just bullying Lisa. Alright, so when I heard there was a plot about Flanders punching Homer and giving him a black eye, I was shocked. Because Ned Flanders, he's a very good guy. You know, he's very religious, and no matter how much of a bad neighbor Homer is, which we all know he obviously is, Ned Flanders is just still such a kind soul to Homer Simpson. And, you know, it just shocked me. And so, I'm actually happy to say that I enjoyed this episode. Not that I was coming in skeptical because the plot sounded interesting, but it was a very well done, well made, and just a very enjoyable episode. And that makes me happy since I am a Simpsons fan. And I'm sure all Simpsons fans out there are going to enjoy this episode as well. The episode, it has many funny moments. I laughed at so many parts in the episode. The humor overall was just very good. And it was just so much fun. It was just very well written. And I was more interested in the whole Ned Flanders punching Homer in the eyeball, though. The Lisa and the teacher plot was very good. It was very enjoyable, although that teacher, something about her bullying Lisa did bug me a little, though. Plus the fact that they actually hired the teacher because, I don't know, just because they hired the teacher and just their rule about the bullies, teachers no bullies. It was just BS, and I didn't like how they didn't do anything about Lisa getting bullied by a teacher. But Homer does ask Ned for a very nice favor in the end, because Ned still feels bad about the black eye thing, and it does involve Lisa's side of the plot. But I don't want to say, you guys just have to watch the episode and see how it's handled. But all I could say is that the situation there, it's just very funny. And so it just kept me entertained. It never bored me. A couple of parts in the Lisa getting bullied by a substitute teacher, though, it did. The Ned Flanders thing, it was perfect for me overall. And so I definitely recommend this episode. Go check it out. I really love almost every moment of this episode. It kept me laughing. It kept me entertained all the way through. And so I am giving this episode a 9.5 out of 10. Very enjoyable. A big old thumbs up for this episode. This is now the Cleveland show at a different timing. Alright, so here's the plot. There's a rat, aka a rodent, in the Cleveland's home. And so everyone in the house just freaks out about the rat. And so they go stay at Donna's mother's home. And Cleveland stays at the house all by himself to get rid of the rat. But then the disgusting rat, Cleveland becomes friends with. Yeah, that's right. Cleveland becomes friends with a disgusting rat. Now, I'll be honest. Yes, I know I'm a guy. But, I don't like rats, yeah. Mice, maybe, but rats, ugh, they're just disgusting. They kind of creep me out. And so I don't blame the family at all being so creeped out by it, because I have a pretty big phobia of it too. And let's just say it involves me. Ah, holy shit, there's a rat! Ah! Kind of like that. So what I think of this episode overall, it's not good. I'm just going to say that straight off the bat. It's not a good episode. It's not a terrible episode, however. But the episode in the end is just very forgettable. It's nothing special. Really, I do get a few laughs, chuckles here and there. Storyline can be somewhat entertaining, I guess. But I don't know. Just the whole plot with Cleveland, it just felt weak. It felt nothing good. And just the whole him being friends with a rat, it was just not great or even entertaining for me. Plus, Donna did get on my nerves, though, because she was being a bitch to Cleveland. And I felt bad for Cleveland since, of course, he said something about how he could never have a pet, but yet, of course, Donna didn't really have any remorse for Cleveland's episode. So she was one of the major problems of the episode, actually. And just the more the episode just went on and on and on, it was just not good. And it's very weak. It's probably one of the weakest episodes of the season, but it's not the worst episode of the season, though. First prize still goes to that very shitty Christmas episode from the season. But overall, it's just really nothing special. It's just very weak. I really don't recommend this episode. Cleveland Show fans, depending what your kind of humor is, I guess you can enjoy this. And then the ending of this episode, it was just disturbing. It was disgusting. And it actually gave me a little bit of nightmares. So, I really can't say I recommend this episode, really. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's just nothing special. And I've already forgotten about this episode thanks to the Family Guy episode, which aired next. So, I don't know. I think that I'm just going to end it from there. It's not a good episode. Very weak overall. I'm giving this Cleveland Show episode a 4.5 out of 10. Oh, in this Family Guy episode, Peter gets his falcon as a pet. For about the first 5 minutes of the episode, Peter and the Falcon, they steal like this motorbike, and then that's when they were having some television show intro reference, which I thought was drop dead hilarious. And they get sued, so Peter gets his Falcon taken away, and he just got broke. And so it gets to a point where Lois needs to find a job. And so Lois, she gets mistaken because she thought she was going to have this job where she does a voiceover for this television show commercial and all that stuff. But then when she goes into her job, it turns out that it was a phone sex line job. And so Lois feels a little uncomfortable with it. And that's really it. And yes, Peter does talk to Lois on the phone sex line. And so overall, I love this episode. This episode was very, very funny. It was hilarious. I could not stop laughing at this episode whatsoever because pretty much every moment of this episode, non-stop, consistently, all throughout, it had me laughing so hard. Hard and very, very loud. This is like one of the most outrageously hilarious episodes of Family Guy I've ever seen. And when I say it was outrageously hilarious, it really was that because it was so stupid, it was so random, but it was just so enjoyable. It made me feel good. It had me laughing. And the storyline to this episode, it was really good too. It was well written. The whole plot was just Lois on this sex line phone with Peter. It was hilarious and oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. Just the situations overall were very good. Everything about this episode was just very well done. There's really not a problem for this episode at all. I can't even think of a minor problem just because, well, I have no problem with this episode whatsoever. I loved it. I don't know about you guys who are watching this video, but I love this episode. And so, I give this Family Guy episode a 10 out of 10 because it was outrageously hilarious. It was well done, very well written storyline. Everything about it was just amazing. This is probably one of those episodes I could rewatch over and over again without ever getting tired of it. And definitely, Family Guy fans, you have to watch this episode because you're definitely going to get an extreme amount of crazy laughs, especially if you're a fan. So, watch this episode because it's hilarious. And now, for the finale of Animation Domination, we have Bob's Burgers. Alright, and so in Bob's Burgers, Louise has a science teacher who is obsessed with Thomas Edison. You know, one of the greatest inventors who ever lived. If you guys, most of you guys should know who Thomas Edison is. I don't say all because I'm sure some aren't familiar or just didn't pay attention to school. It's okay if you didn't pay attention because I really didn't pay attention much in school in the past. But anyways, that's the plot of the episode. Subplot, it's kind of pointless. It's a Bob and his wife with the spice rack, and that's it. This episode was pointless overall. It's a good episode. It's very enjoyable. But I can't say it was the best episode, but it was enjoyable at least. It has problems, though. And of course, you can't expect everything to be perfect. And I don't expect every episode of these shows and Animation Domination to be perfect, but just be enjoyable. And this was enjoyable. But one of the things that did annoy me was definitely Luis's annoying science teacher. I could not stand that mother, and I didn't like him stomping on Luis's volcano. That was just very mean, and it was just not necessary. There was a few annoying scenes in this episode. Like, for example, when the teacher stomped on Luis's volcano and he told her the rule no volcanoes, they're just screaming out. Like, he's all like, yeah, what? Yeah, what? Like, they're just, like they were in class, right? And they're just screaming at each other and yelling. It was just so annoying. There was a few annoying moments in this episode that just gave me a headache. It's really not that funny of an episode, actually. I do get some laughs. Well, I think they're mostly chuckles, I guess you could say. A few laughs, some chuckles, but the storyline overall, I will admit, is not bad. It is actually a well-written episode. Pacing to this episode is actually good too. And like I said, there is enjoyment in this episode because I did like it. I do think it's a good episode. Louise comes up with this invention of Topsy the elephant, the electrocution. And so that's what you get. And of course, you have Tina as Topsy the elephant, and Gene was Thomas Edison. And so that part of the show, it was pretty funny overall, and it just had me rolling my eyes in some moments. But I do recommend it, especially if you're a Bob's Burgers fan. I'm not, obviously, but that doesn't mean I hate the show, because I don't hate it. And overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 7.5 out of 10, because it is enjoyable overall. Subscribe to my channel, comment and give me your thoughts on each of the Animation Domination premieres, like and share this video. I hope you all enjoyed this, and don't forget that I will always have